so here we are here at Monza for Racing Formula League Season 15 and round number 8. The 5 red lights are on and it's lights out and away we go. Danny M7 gets away well from pole position, but it's been a good start also from Tom and Clout behind as well. Let's see what happens into turn 1. Oh, it's a big collision at the back. Oh dear, that was not sure who that was involving, but a serious collision there. Verklempt closing on to the tail of Kozlowski here, round the parabolica corner, and it is nose to tail here. And is it going to be side by side? Yes it is, and Hutchins getting through in the background, you can see there, but side by side for P3. Verklempt, does he get through for P3? Yes he does. Move complete there from the McLaren driver. Could Danny be vulnerable here from behind now, as it's going to be DRS open for Tom Gorian in the Alpine car? And is it going to be side by side as Angelo gets up to 6th there, we can see in the background, but not side by side for the lead this time. And we can see there Angelo getting up to P6 with an overtake on Polar. Then Max getting ahead of Notorious there. Oh, it's side by side, and the two of them having a ding-dong battle. And it's side by side, and it's going to be Notorious who takes P9 there. But on to the front, Danny trying to break the toe if possible. And there's not going to be a move for P1, but there's action further behind. Two Mercedes switching positions with Angelo right on the tail as well, trying to see if he can pick up any positions. But it's Vapid ahead of Kozlowski and ahead of Angelo, but it's going to be side by side through the curve of Grande. Angelo going for the move. Is there going to be space? There is at the moment. Oh, and it is crowded out slightly as Angelo and Vapid maybe slightly helping his teammate stay ahead of the Fry man, but then Angelo having a look, but it's not quite enough for now. Tom right on the tail of the Red Bull of Danny M7, and let's see what happens this time round. It is going to be DRS for Tom Gorian. He's right on the tail of that Red Bull car, and now side by side they go. And is it going to be the lead for Tom Gorian? It is for now. Can he make the move stick into turn 1, into the braking zone? And he does make it stick. And Angelo, does he make the double overtake on the two Mercedes cars? He does indeed. A double overtake from Angelo puts him up to P4. Very, very nicely done there. And it is now Vapid P5 ahead of Kozlowski P6. Is Danny close this time? He's about half a second off. Is that going to be enough with DRS? And Verklempt into the pits. Verklempt makes a move into the pits. Danny though is on the tail of Tom, and there is action we can see further back as Hutchins makes a move on Polar. Can he make it stick? He can indeed. Meanwhile, Verklempt onto the hard compound tyres. Verklempt the first to pit as Notorious. 10-second penalty for them. That is not ideal. They pit, and it's going to be some medium compound tyres and a front wing change too. Hutchins onto the tail of Kozlowski here. Hutchins though with a time penalty, the first driver to get one of those, but for the lead there is action. Danny goes up the inside of Tom into the Sky chicane, and Danny M7 retakes the lead of this Italian Grand Prix. Is Tom going to remain close enough? Oh, they both go into the pits. Danny and Tom into the pit lane. And so, is there going to be action down the pit straight? That's the question. Hutchins going for a move potentially onto the Mercedes of Kozlowski. Up the inside he's gone, and it is a clean move. And Hutchins up to what is now P3, because out of the pits comes Danny M7 and Tom Gorian. They're both onto some fresh hard tyres. There's Verklempt though in the McLaren. He's pitted a lap earlier, and side by side he goes. Oh, when it's just not quite enough for Verklempt. Tom managing to cover off the undercut from Verklempt. Anyone into the pits? Angelo's not into the pits. Vapid got 74 into the pits here. But there could be some action out on track because Kozlezko and Hutchins side by side, and Kozlezko moves up to what is now P2 on the circuit. And now that's Vapid on hard tyres. Bin Max is going to be on to some medium tyres. And what is happening out on circuit? It is Tom Gorian on the tail of Danny. Not quite a position change, as out of the pits comes the Mercedes of Vapid. Back to the drivers who have not yet pitted, and they, well, they being Kozlezko, Hutchins and Polar, they are nose to tail. And is Kozlezko going to be under some pressure? He is indeed. Hutchins goes up the inside and takes the P2 position. Into pits for Polar. Danny M7 not got DRS this time. Tom Gorian in the slipstream. DRS wide open, as we can see on that Alpine car. But not quite enough for some action here. And Polar comes out onto some fresh medium compound tyres. Kozlezko's gone on to some hard compound tyres. The Mercedes, I mean, comes out P8, as it's a fast lap for Danny, but Hutchins into the pits, and it's going to be the medium compound tyres for the Sauber of Hutchins. Where does he slot in though? Well, that is the question. It's going to be behind Polar. Is it going to be in front or behind of Kozlezko? It is going to be side by side with Kozlezko, is it? Oh, it's just ahead for Hutchins. And it's P7 for him. Angelo into the pits now. Angelo pitting. And let's see the tyre choice. It's going to be some hard compound tyres for Angelo. Where's Angelo going to slot in? Is he going to slot in P5 ahead of Polar? It looks like he is. Yes, so it's going to be P5 for Angelo here. Tom Gorian still within DRS range, just about if he can keep it here. Can he? Oh no, he doesn't get it this time. Hutchins getting close, and will there be some overtaking manoeuvres soon? And so it's DRS open for Hutchins. He's right on the tail of Polar. Side by side they go, and Hutchins up to P6 in the Sauber car there. Action between these two again. It's going to be Polar this time with DRS. Is the V car going to get back through this time? They go just about side by side, is it? Not quite, but now into the braking zone. It's side by side. Polar up the inside, and he gets P6 back from Hutchins. And Kozlezko not too far away from this battle either. Hutchins rounds the Parabolica, and he will be getting the DRS down the pit straight. It is side by side for P6. Kozlezko gets in on the action as well in the Mercedes car, and Kozlezko also overtakes Polar. And it's Kozlezko up to P7, Polar down to P8 there. Tom into the pits. Tom Gorian pits for a second time. And let's see the tyre. It is going to be another set of hards for Tom Gorian. So interesting stuff there, as Kozlezko going side by side with Hutchins. Meanwhile, side by side into turn 1. And who's going to quit on top here? Oh, it's so close, but Hutchins defends his position very nicely there, as Angelo gets ahead of Vapid. Meanwhile, into the second chicane, a nice overtake there from the Ferrari driver. It could be some variations on strategy, because Angelo's only pitted 4 laps ago, so he, I would suggest, is more likely to be going to the end than, say, Verklempt or Danny. But we'll see what happens as the race unfolds. We'll see who does what. And side by side now between Kozlezko and Hutchins. Kozlezko this time making a move into the Parabolica corner, gives up the DRS, and will that be a mistake from the Mercedes driver, because it's going to be DRS for Hutchins and into the pits for Polar meanwhile. But Hutchins, DRS open and gets right back through and up into P5. And in the background there, it is Tom Gorian trying to get past the Red Bull of Bin Max. Oh, it's contacting into the chicane. Oh dear, that wasn't ideal there. And I suspect that 10-second penalty may well get removed there. That was, I would say, unfairly dished out by the game there. Into the pits for Danny M7. Danny pits from the lead. And so we'll see what tyre it's going to be. It's going to be some medium tyres, as Angelo has taken the lead, because Verklemt's also into the pits. Verklempt, he goes on to some medium tyres. Vapid also pits as well, and it's side by side for what is now P2 between Kozlowski and Hutchins. Hutchins taking P2. It is all action in the pit lane. Danny comes out P4, Tom Gorian P5, and Verklempt P6, Vapid P7 onto the medium tyres. Bin Max onto some hards. It will be P9 as Polar goes through to P8. And that is your race situation. Angelo has now the lead of this Italian Grand Prix. The Italian man in the lead in the Ferrari. Hutchins P2 for now. And so Kozlowski has a good exit though. Kozlowski could be going side by side towards the Parabolica corner, and the two of them side by side. Who's going to put on top? Kozlowski swoops around the outside, and a nice move indeed from the Mercedes driver. But now who gets the DRS? That is the question. It's going to be Hutchins, and is he going to swoop right back past Kozlowski? Yes, he is. Hutchins says thank you very much and retakes P2 away from Kozlowski. Meanwhile, Danny M7 catching up to this group with a rapid rate of knots. Tom Gorian not too far either. Danny M7 now on some fresh medium tyres. That's slightly wide from Hutchins, and it's going to be DRS open for Danny M7 and for Kozlowski. Danny up to P3, and is he going for P2 as well? He is indeed. A double overtake there for Danny M7, and now has a 14-second gap to first position. Kozlowski is on the tail of Hutchins once again, and has Kozlowski learnt his lesson? He's got to wait for the pit straight and the DRS zone, because multiple times and into the pits for Hutchins, which means Tom Gorian can make the pass onto Kozlowski, and that is Tom up to P3 there. And it is some medium tyres for the Sauber of Hutchins, and he will slot in P8. Tom has broken the 1 second window behind to Kozlowski. We'll see what happens between these two. Hutchins will get the DRS, and we'll see if they go side by side. Yes, they indeed do. Side by side they go, and Hutchins through and up to P7 for the Sauber driver. See the penalty situation for Tom. Of course, it does say 13 seconds, but I think reduce that to 3 realistically. And Verklempt, DRS open, nose to tail between himself and Kozlowski. Is it going to be side by side into the Sky chicane? Yes, it will be. And Verklempt through and up into P4. Angelo, he was the last driver to pit for the first time. He knew to go on to the one-stop strategy, and with Danny and Tom doing the 2-stop, it's meant that the one-stop strategy has worked this time for Angelo Lissimo. The Ferrari man, the Italian driver, rounds the Parabolica on the final lap of the Italian Grand Prix, and Angelo Lissimo, he's going to win the Italian Grand Prix at Monza, and the Ferrari driver wins his home Grand Prix. A very nice victory indeed for Angelo, as Danny M7 crosses the line for P2, and Tom is going to be P3, and Verklempt will be P4. Kozlezko and Vapid cross the line together. It is Kozlezko ahead of Vapid, and then it's going to be Hutchins to cross the line for P7. Decides to go into the pit lane, and Polar will be P8, just ahead of Bin Max, who doesn't have a penalty, so Bin Max up to 7th, Polar 8th, Hutchins into 9th, then it's going to be Sam P10 and Notorious P11. So, Angelo Lissimo wins the Italian Grand Prix with Danny M7 P2, Verklempt P3, Kozlezko 4th on the penalties, Vapid 5th, Tom Gorian 6th, which will, I believe, change back to Tom being 3rd. So the rest of the drivers, it's Bin Max in 7th, it's Polar 8th, Hutchins in 9th, Sam in 10th, and Notorious 11th.